What is up, one and done CVB community? It's your boy Mike Holland at MC Holland 34, back with you for another transfer portal series update here. Yes, we are closing in on mid-May here, which means the portal is starting to wind down. And I know we got, NBA draft lottery happening, NBA playoffs are happening, we got NHL playoffs are happening. We got all kinds of things happening. WNBA starts up this weekend, but you know what? We're 365 coming with the hottest college basketball takes, talking transfer portal. Hey, we're here to do it all. Just make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons. I am solo with our boy Eric the Blue hitting buttons tonight. I think Jay will be back either Wednesday or Thursday to do his solo show, and then we'll probably link back up on the weekend to get it going, man. So if you guys are in the chat, guys and gals, please toss out any questions. Let us know what's going on. Let us know what you think about the show. Like I said, most importantly, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Join all of our socials. We are one and done CBB pretty much anywhere that you can find us. But today we're going to be hopping on some early entrant news from the NBA draft because obviously that affects whether guys are coming back. We're going to be talking some Vandy hoops. We'll also be talking Virginia Cavalier hoops, Cincinnati Bearcat hoops. So if you're fans of those teams, hop on in, man. We're gonna get this thing popping. So as we have old Darren jumping in here, there it is. It's rigged. Cooper Flag and Wage Buck. Let's go to the same city. Yeah, there it is. Hey, so yeah, NBA on the mind, and obviously the NBA draft affects what we cover in college basketball. And we got a lot of news to jump into, but we'll start with a gentleman that is making his third commitment of the offseason here, and that is former Oklahoma Sooner, former high point guard Duke Miles, who previously committed to both Virginia and Texas A&M, backing off of both of those commitments, and now picking his third school this offseason. It is college basketball, so we see any and everything. And headed over to Vandy. So looks like the Commodores will come out big winners here. Duke Miles played 25 minutes per game last year for Oklahoma, averaged just under 10 points, about 2.5 boards, shot 43% from three. So the thing that you like about this move for Vanderbilt is I think this is an excellent fit. When you look at their roster, Coach Byington absolutely knows what he's doing. This is a team that probably won't get a lot of national media hype, but when you look at what he's put together in year two, and a lot of it's come through the portal, we'll probably profile them here over the next week or two when we do our spotlight for the Commodores here. But, man, you look at it, and Duke Miles, 95th percentile spot-up shooting. So you look at, like, what you need to put next to Frankie Collins, who's coming over from TCU. He's a rim-pressuring guard. He shot 57% at the rim on nearly half of his attempts. So he wants to get downhill. He's a pretty poor three-point shooter, but a really good facilitator and a really good player at getting his hands in passing lanes and getting into the open floor and making some things happen. So what do you want to put next to him? Well, you want to put next to him a guy that can open up the floor and shoot threes. So I think the Miles Collins combination, you look at Devin McLaughlin, who probably the most undervalued big coming back in college basketball, like his offensive rating, just his metrics in general, have him up there with the elite players last year. Nobody really talks about them. And also we were kind of upset that he didn't play, more than 24 minutes or so, 25 minutes a game. But this core that they're bringing up here for Vanderbilt, they have a pretty decent ceiling with the way that their roster is constructed. Might not be the biggest names in the game, but we start looking at fit. These guys really fit next to each other. So look out for the Commodores in the SEC this coming year. We'll talk about them a little bit more here coming up in the next week or two. So having wrapped up some SEC talk, we'll dive back in here to the chat. We got Jay throwing up the fire emojis as I got the one and done whites on today, and Nate jumping in talking about Frankie Collins' decision making not his strong suit, as he's aware from his Arizona State days. So shout out to Nate. He'll be back doing a lot of stuff for us behind the scenes, also producing. Helping me out with the top 500 big board, which you can check out at drroto.com. And Darren with the comment on old Miles. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to dig on the Sooners tonight, man. Looks like Cam jumping in. What up, OG? What's up, man? I didn't see that. I was just watching the game. So if that just happened, then yikes, look out. But I think whoever comes out of the West is going to end up winning the NBA Finals regardless. So while that we're kind of transitioning over to hoops, why don't we talk about NBA draft early entry update? So some news that came out. Isaiah Evans is going to withdraw, and he is going to return to Duke, which is big news for Duke fans. This guy can absolutely shoot it. Didn't have to do much. Last year was a highly rated prospect, could show that he could really, really score the ball. So, him coming into a sophomore year, coming back for Duke here is going to be pretty big. We've also been looking at like the NBA draft combine. They got some call-ups coming out from the G League elite camp, and some of these guys are underclassmen that are getting the call-ups. You have Yannick Conan Niederheiser, YKN, as we like to call him, the Penn State big. He has been invited now to the NBA draft combine. So I know there was some talk that maybe, probably looking for more of a guarantee, because I think on the table it's been rumored that around $1 to $1.5 million to return to Penn State. So we'll see kind of what happens with him. It still feels pretty safe that he'll probably make his return. The big one it's not too surprising. Mackenzie Mbako, we spotlighted Texas A&M and their transfer portal haul about a week or so ago, and he was a guy that didn't really fit with Indiana, but I'm not surprised because he's a former 5-star, impressing some of the NBA scouts here. And then just a little tidbit here, Yaxel Lindeborg, the big man out of UAB. He's one of our top 3 players on our transfer portal big board right now. He is committed to go to Michigan. I don't think he's going to end up there because the combine measurements came out and NBA scouts are going to be drooling over that. And that probably means that someone's going to lock him into a late first-round pick. So I like the chances for him to go pro more than I do for him to actually make it to Ann Arbor, which makes kind of what Michigan did this offseason pretty important from the big standpoint. They still have Morez Johnson coming in from Illinois, and then Ade Mara coming in from UCLA. So they're going to be okay. Obviously, you don't want to lose a player of his caliber. I mean, he would be a top 5, top 10 returning player in college basketball next year. So we'll kind of follow up and see what happens with Lindeborg. But obviously, Michigan fans looking at that as that it's going to be some huge news coming up here. All right, so that'll kind of wrap it up for our news and notes here. Cam jumping in. Yeah, I saw Drake Powell and his measurements, man. A big wing like that with his measurements. I actually just was on Twitter looking at some stuff. I saw that, people are going to be salivating over that, especially what he could probably do at the next level. So, I think Yaxel and Drake probably looking like leans to the NBA here. And of course, Darren throwing in his Mavs stuff. Hey man, it is what it is, man. Maybe your guy Nico Harrison wasn't a complete moron. Maybe he knew the future. So good luck to the Mavs. They're up there in Big D there, Darren. So cool. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. I think we're at 1,527 subs. Would love to get to, why not 1,600 here over the next month or so? That would really help us out, and appreciate all the one and done crew and sticking with us. I know this is kind of the slow period. We're working on some coaching interviews. We'll talk about some incoming freshmen that'll be coming up. Just make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you want to get in the chat, make sure you hit subscribe. We want to chat with you. We want to get your opinions. We want to know where I'm wrong, where you're going to be right. We just love you to be a part of the universe here. So let's dive on into a couple of team spotlights. We'll jump in here to the Virginia Cavaliers. So look, we know last year they were put in a tough spot. Longtime head coach Tony Bennett, he decided to retire. Was it like 3-4 weeks before the start of the season? That put interim coach Ron Sanchez in, and they struggled to get to a 15-17 record. And he was relieved of his duties this offseason. So we dove into the carousel here, the coaching carousel, and hey, what do you know? You got someone in your own backyard. VCU's Ryan Odom, who's going to take over this Virginia Cavalier program, and I thought this was a spectacular hire for them. Ironically, it was Odom's 16 seed UMBC squad that pulled the upset, the first ever 16-1 upset over that number 1 seeded Virginia program. So a little bit of irony there. But since then, he's been on a rocket ship up the coaching ladder. I mean, 2 years at Utah State. gets the VCU job, 2 years at VCU. They had a really good team, balanced attack on both ends of the floor for pretty much his entire career and where he's been at. So he's not afraid to play different styles, and I love coaches like that. Like, he's not married to, one style where it's all defensive, or one style where you just want to fire up a bunch of threes on offense. Like, he will really put together a roster and be able to kind of tailor his coaching to whatever the strengths are of that roster. And I think, what he's brought in with the transfer portal class has a real shot to make some noise in the ACC, and we know the ACC is going to be wide open. I think I saw John Rothstein posting that this is a pivotal year for the ACC. So, look, they're not going to be an upper echelon team nationally, but I really do think with fit, and we'll talk about the transfer class that's coming in right now. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys inside of our top 500. And the headliner just happened, I believe it was yesterday or not the day before, but Malik Thomas, the guard out of San Francisco, he's decided to make his way, and we kind of talked about that last time we were on with Jay. He's making his way over to the Cavaliers, averaged 20 points per game, 39% from three, over a steal and a half. He's number 50 on our big board. Number 76 on our big board is Jakari White, the guard from North Dakota State, averaged 17 points, shot 40% from three. Sam Lewis, number 169 from Toledo. He's 6'6", wing, 16 points, 5 boards, shot 44% from three. Dallin Hall at number 218, the BYU guard. He averaged 7 points, 4 assists, and shot 35% from three. Ugana Onyenso, center from Kansas State. He's a 7-footer. Just 3 points, nearly 3 boards per game. Just not a lot of playing time in that Kansas State front court last year. And then Devin Tillis at number 319, the forward out of UC Irvine, 6'6", 215, averaged nearly 14 points, 8 boards, shot 40% from three. So what's up with this haul here? I mean, you got 5 guys that can really shoot it. And then you have a rim protecting, paint bound, big upside, big that you're bringing in that it feels like hasn't tapped into his recruiting pedigree. So I like what this looks like offensively, especially with all these guards and wings you're bringing in. And you just hope that Onyenso and some of these other guys that are going to be on the roster can help out enough defensively, because where you're getting some offense from a lot of these guys like Malik Thomas, there's going to be some struggles on the defensive end, but I think that can be cleaned up by Onyenso and the team defensive concept that Ryan Odom likes to play here. So the crown jewel, obviously, that commitment to Malik Thomas. He's a big scoring guard, first team all WCC. Like, he's a big difference maker for this team. I went and added him over on Torvik. So Bart Torvik, he lines everything up. He gives you some analytics based on the rosters that he have. So before Malik Thomas was added to this roster, it was 64th ranked in the country, and now they're up to 48. So a legit shot in the arm here, a legit potential tourney team. He just gives you everything offensively. I kind of see him in like the Joe Bamistil role from that BCU squad over the last couple of years, like a guy that's going to take a ton of shots, right? He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, going to shoot a lot of threes, and obviously an elite three-point weapon. You look at Jakari White. If you haven't seen him play, like, you should check out some film on this guy. He absolutely lit it up in the Summit and then some. He cooked Santa Clara and Butler while they were on the road, so I know that he's going to be able to get it done, when the lights are brightest here. But he can flat out knock it down too. And 93rd percentile catch and shoot, 90th in spot up. I know this is a move to a better league here, but just based on his tier A, you have to like it. I don't think I worry about as much as his transition as I would like a Sam Lewis, but White's just not a shooter, right? Like, he can come off screens, he can get transition buckets for you. His playmaking's gotten a little bit better every year, but he's definitely going to be an off-ball guard, especially that's why you're bringing in Dallin Hall. But I could see those 3 starting. Dallin Hall is like the perfect fit next to Jakari White and Malik Thomas. So those 2 guys are high usage guys, which means you want a low usage like table setter to get those guys involved. And that's exactly what Dallin Hall is. I mean, he had a 14% usage rate last year, but nearly a 35% assist rate. So he's not like these other guys where, low usage rate point guards, right? They have, big assist rates. No, he can shoot it. So you can't just leave Dallin Hall open. He shot 35% from three. So this is a potential for a dangerous backcourt, especially when you compare it to like what Virginia has run out there over the last, honestly, since the national championship, last 3 to 4 years, right? So Sam Lewis probably going to get pushed to a 6-man role. I'm probably too high on him, but I just look at his metrics. I mean, 91st percentile in spot up. He specializes in dribble handoffs as a 6'6" wing. He's 92nd percentile in scoring off dribble handoffs. So he does have a lot of upside. Like I said, I kind of worry about his transition a little bit more than I do White's. And I'm kind of worried about the profile, man. We talk about wings that are 6'4" to 6'6" that really only score the ball. They're coming from mid-majors. They don't have any defensive upside. Like, those guys tend to struggle. So I might be moving Lewis down as we continue the big board, but I still think he's got some upside. He's a younger player too. Devin Tillis, he's your floor spacing forward, great on the catch and shoot. He can spot up as well. He's got 123 games of experience. Comes from one of the best defensive programs in the country. Russ Turner over there at UC Irvine, we interviewed him, I think, 3 years ago. Just continues to get it done defensively. Now, he is a little bit on the smaller side, so, floor spacing 4 at 6'6", 6'7". Now, he has a wider body, so I think he will be able to kind of hang here in the ACC. But I think a lot of the defensive pressure is going to be put on the shoulders of Onyenso and some of these bigs. But when you look at Onyenso's profile, like, massive shot blocking upside, 16% his freshman year, 15% his sophomore year, 9% last year in limited minutes. But you don't just get that. Like, he's a paint-bound big and a great lob target for all these shooters. For Dallin Hall, right? Dallin Hall, you get the floor spacing from these other guards and wings that you have on the floor, and you have Onyenso rolling to the basket. Like, he's kind of like Dallin Hall, where, like, you want the guards with high usage and high three-point shooting ability, and then Dallin Hall comes in with his 14% usage rate, 35% assist rate, and he's lobbing it up to a low usage of, Gano Onyenso, and he's going to, probably shoot around 65 to 70% from the rim. So I really like what this team can be offensively, but a lot is going to be on the shoulders of how they play team defense and how Onyenso and some of these other guys are really going to get it done here. So cool. That's the Cavaliers here. We'll jump back in, talking about Tully Poodle Conference, referring back to Kelvin Sampson there. Darren Thane, if Odom wants to run with the big Poodles, he can try to pick the pace of this team. I think this team can play somewhat fast, but like I said, he's kind of been all over with his tempos of his teams. He's really going to tailor his roster to what their strengths are. Babu San Virginia also bringing in 2 very good international prospects. Yeah, so they got a lot of talent, man. I wouldn't sleep on them. What's up, Babu? Appreciate you diving in there, man. So, yeah, Virginia, definitely an interesting team to look out for. Make sure you guys hit those like and subscribe button. Help your boys during the offseason. There's a slow time. Just, if you know somebody, go over there, tap, tell them, let me see your phone. Let me just hit the like and subscribe. College hoops, like, we never sleep here at One and Done. So, you want to get your information, get all this talk that we're doing. Definitely make sure you do that. And I just realized that I'm 18 minutes in and I haven't had a coughing attack, which is very rare for one of my solo shows. So I think I'm on good pace right now. So make sure you hit all those buttons, and we appreciate everything you guys do for us. We'll jump into the Cincinnati Bearcats, and they kind of failed up to live up to their expectations, at least of last year. Like, I remember thinking, like, they could be a potential, top 20 type team. And Ken Palm had them at 17th in the preseason. Well, didn't quite work out last year for them. Their defense was excellent, top 25 in the country under Coach Wes Miller. They could not overcome the lack of three-point shooting, 32% from three, and they just refused to draw contact and go to the line. They were 360th in the country on free throw rate. And even if they got there, they were dreadful anyway at 66% from the line. So, like, a bad combination to help your defense out is not being able to hit threes and not getting to the free throw line. So, Coach Miller, I think he's got to be feeling some heat going into year 5. They failed to make the tournament during his 4 years there. And then they're kind of retooling their roster, but they're kind of keeping some of their point guards. So this class, I don't know, like Jizzle James and Day Thomas are returning. I would not play these 2 guys together, especially in Big 12 play. It's a 6-footer and a 6'1" guy. Neither one of them can really stretch the floor. So I just, I'd rather probably one of them come off the bench. And then you look at, like, what this portal class has to offer. Like, it's some nice names, but the fit and how this team profile, I think, Miller's going to have to put together the right pieces in his rotations and his starting lineups to really make this thing work. Otherwise, I think this team probably profiles a little bit like what we just saw this past season. So I'm going to run down this list here of the guys coming in. 5 inside of our top 500. That's Mustafa Cham, the center from UCF. He's 7'2", just ultra talented. He's an NBA player. Averaged 10 points, 6 boards, 2.5 blocks. Remember, he should have been in high school last year, so expecting a big jump from him. Kurt Kriisa at number 126, the guard from Kentucky. Limited action, obviously injured last year. We know what he can do. He's been a leader on a 1 seed and a 2 seed with Arizona. Jalen Haynes at number 167, the forward from George Mason, averaged 14.7 boards. Cincinnati Harris, 249 on our list here, the 6'4" guard / wing. 6 points, 4 boards. He's really a great defensive player. We'll talk about him in a second here. And then Jalen Celestine at 304 from Baylor, 6'7", 215, averaged 7 points, 3.5 boards, shot 35% from three. So we'll start with Chom. An absolutely great get here. He's going to slide right into the role that was left behind by Bodego, and obviously has more upside on the offensive end. So he's a legit three-point shooter. I know he only shot 29% from three last year, but I think he can probably get that around 33 to 34%. And at 7'2" and his size, like, he's going to be a force in the paint. If he's able to stretch that game out an extra 2 to 3%, like, I think he's going to be absolutely devastating. So that's going to be key to their success, honestly, because there's not a lot of outside shooting on this roster, kind of like it was last year. So with Chom in there, he's one of the best rim protectors in the country that's coming back, and they're live to kind of stay in the top 25 to 30 with him, Day Thomas. We'll talk about Cincinnati Harris here in just a second, but he's going to make life easier for these guards on both ends of the floor, especially if he develops the way that we're hoping. I do find it a little weird that they're bringing in Kirk Kriisa. Defensively, he's not going to give you much. He does give them some scoring pop from the one. Kriisa on year 8 there, Jay. Yeah, I don't know what you do with him, because you don't like. So they're gonna have Kriisa, they got Day Thomas, and Jizzle James. Like, Day Thomas more of like your defensive stalwart, Jizzle James more of your facilitator, and then Kirk Kriisa is more of like your scorer. So, like, what do you want to roll with here? And playing two of them, I guess when you have Chom, you can probably get away with running two guards out there. It's, I'd kind of say Kirk Kriisa is 6'3", but I mean, those three guys are all 6'3" and under, with Day and Jizzle being 6'1", 6 foot. So I don't know. I just know that, if Kriisa's back to full health, he's got a ton of experience. He can open up the floor. He can shoot it from deep, and he's a good facilitator. So we'll kind of see how this entire dynamic. They may be forced to play a couple of these guys at the same time, which, obviously it's going to put a little bit more pressure on the front court to be able to do some things as far as size. But my problem kind of with all these guys is that there's, outside of Kriisa that are coming in the transfer portal, is that there's not a lot of shooting. You don't have a lot of floor spacing other than Celestine. So, like, when you look at Haynes and Harris, like, they're both good players, but really the system and the role kind of have to fit. With Haynes, Cincinnati goes from like this wiry four-man and Dylan Mitchell who can block shots and run the floor to a paint pound big at the four. So don't get me wrong, like, down low, he was a load in the A10. But going to the Big 12, like, that's going to hurt some of that effectiveness inside. I mean, he shot 63% from the field. Nearly 80% of it was at the rim. So 63% on at the rim is what he shot. So, yeah, that gets done, obviously, in the A10. I don't know that he's going to be able to get near that number in the Big 12 here, and 80% of his field goals attempted at the rim. I mean, that's a paint-bound big there for you. You cannot shoot the three-pointer. It's ultra effective when you post them up, but you don't want to clog up the lane with Chom working an inside-outside game. Kind of where he worked out best last year for George Mason was being like this, post-up guy that could, spread around a little bit to shooters, a 14% assist rate, and he would just absolutely rack up fouls down low. So I think if you start Chom, you're going to start Chom, like, you're probably going to want to bring him off the bench and use a Celestine probably out of your starting lineup. So, he did show some production. Haynes did defensively, but his mobility is absolutely going to be put to the test. He's a bigger guy. So, we'll see. Like, they're going to be a nightmare on the glass because he's 10% offensive rebounding rate. Chom's a really good rebounder as well. So they're going to be a nightmare on the offensive glass, even if they're missing shots. It'll remind you a little bit about A&M. They'll probably go and get some boards there. But you look at, what else we talked about here. Harris, like your classic defensive stopper, limited to no offensive ceiling. But the thing you do like, 11th on Evan Maya's DBPR. But he shot 6 for 53 from three. So he's an excellent, elite defender. But he gives you nothing offensively. Like, if he could even get to 30% from three, he would be a major weapon for them. I just don't see how you can put him around guys that can't shoot, which worries me if you're starting a lineup with Haynes and Harris, that, like, you're not playing like a Kriisa, Chom, and then another shooter around there. Make you get a little bit dicey. So we'll see how this plays out with him. Regardless, like he's a defensive weapon that Miller can use. And Celestine, like talked about, I think I like him to be the starter at the 4. He was an on and off again starter for Baylor after the injuries that they had last year, and his off the dribble shooting is crazy. He has like this one dribble kind of step back shot that he's known for. The 95th percentile off the dribble shooting. Typically, when you think of off the dribble, you're thinking like, you're crossing people over and, making things happen. No, his is like, it's almost like a catch and shoot. You take a dribble, you step back, and you pop a 3. So, he's also good in the spot up, 75th percentile. So he's definitely a weapon. I could see him starting next to Chom. Feels like more of a natural fit than Haynes, especially if you're going to try to play Dady or Jizzle at the point, because you just don't have enough shooting if you play Harris on the wing. So we'll see what Miller kind of cooks up here. I think he's got some pieces to do some things, maybe fringe tournament, but I kind of worry that if he doesn't have the right rotations and fits, that this thing could kind of end up like it did last year. So cool. Diving in here. What up, Mo? Saying the all who team. Yeah, absolutely. The all who team. Darren Etheridge, what you got, man? Double potential from Chom. Absolutely, man. Mo saying Cincinnati sports are dead. Yeah, well, we love playing Celestine at 3,400 last year. Yeah, he's never going to be over 3,700 for the most part. So appreciate all the comments. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. We are chugging along here. Shout out to all the guys in the chat tonight, man. Mr. Conductor himself jumping in there a few times, along with CC Hustle early in the show. Of course, Eric the Blues pushing the buttons tonight, so big shout out to him. And I know a lot of the One and Done crew's been getting some T-shirts ordered, and appreciate all this love and support out there. Love the Twitter interaction we get with our merchandise that's out there. So we love that. And if you guys are watching this, or gals are watching this, maybe tomorrow on your drive to work or whatever, make sure you guys tell your other hoop heads about us. Obviously we're chugging along subscriber by subscriber, but the only way we can do that is to get the word out. So we absolutely love bringing you this content 365 days a year. So having said that, we'll take 5 minutes or so to kind of dive through. I love to talk about my mid-majors. You guys have probably seen my show, The Mid-Major Minute, or my bit that I do. That's usually 3 to 5 minutes. This is probably in the same deal here, but we're going to talk about a 5-pack of mid-major players that are on the move, that kind of staying in the mids here. So got to give some love here. We can't just focus on all the P5 teams. So we'll jump in here, and 4 of these guys are 400, sub 400 on the list here. We got some big news here that Mr. Dean, love the name and the game, from USC Upstate at 6'6", 210. He's coming to Charleston. Look, hey, freshman year, 16 points, 5.5 boards, 2.5 steals. That plays. I mean, that's a big pickup for Coach Mack there. Strong finisher at the rim, stat sheet stuffer, top 10 in the country in steal percentage. I'm surprised of like a P5. I'm sure he had some offers here. I'm not taking a shot on this guy, but he's in that profile of like, I know the steal rate's high, but Evan Maya's DBPR, like, it wasn't great. So you can kind of get lost with like a bunch of steals. Doesn't always add up to great defensive play. So maybe kind of in that weird twinge wing area where he's more of a scorer, but I think he does a lot more on the court. So I'm kind of surprised that, he's not going to a P4, P5 team, but this is a big pickup for Charleston, who got the news that Andy Berzovich is not getting an additional year. So I don't think any of these guys that are playing D2 are going to get that additional year. That precedent has been set. So we'll see what kind of goes with that. But yeah, Mr. Dean, awesome name. And we'll be seeing a little bit more of him now that he's with Charleston. 406 is David Green. He's a forward out of Rhode Island, 6'7", 230. He committed to Tulsa. I believe that happened today too. 28 minutes a game, 14 points, 6 boards, 43% from 3. This is going to be his 4th program in his career, a stretch 4, obviously at 43% from 3. Can absolutely shoot it, takes care of the ball on high usage, which I absolutely love, and I'm sure coaches love as well. I always want a guy that has a high usage rate that doesn't turn the ball over. And Coach Kunkel, I mean, he wants to shoot a bunch of threes, and they've been terrible since he's been there. So 3 seasons, top 100 in 3-point rate, all 3 seasons, sub 270 in 3-point percentage. So this is a match made in heaven here for Tulsa. So it's the guy that's going to be able to shoot a lot of threes and be able to make them and be able to open up the floor for the guards there at Tulsa. So a good player there. Jalen Smith at 435. He's a 5'11 guard out of North Florida. He goes to East Tennessee State. averaged 11 points, 6 assists, 35% from three, coming from a really solid program. I know he's only 5'11", but he was really effective at the rim, 53% from the rim here. He can dish it out too, 35% assist rate. An effective catch and shoot guy. Like, he's going to be like their Kamari Peterson role this year. Peterson headed off to Washington, but he'll be that high usage guard. Coach Savage described him as a guy that makes people better. He's a floor general and one of the best pick and roll players in the portal. So he'll be headed to East Tennessee State. A couple more guys here to finish this out. Jamil Jones, the wing from Cal State Bakersfield, 6'4", 195. He's going to New Mexico State. Averaged 19 points, shot 35% from three. This guy is used to letting it fly. He was 6th in the country in usage rate and 2nd in the country in shot rate. So he's absolutely wired to get buckets. Now, he didn't grade out very well defensively last year, but you have to think some of that's based on just how much energy he's expending offensively. So kind of a weird fit for Coach Hooten, who's like prefers his defensive-minded players. So it'll be interesting to see how the match kind of works out for both parties moving forward. But regardless, Jamil Jones going over to New Mexico State as a bucket getter. And then Terrence Ginyard, last guy here on the list, Tennessee Martin guard, 6'2", 170. He's going to Duquesne, averaged 16 points, 5 boards, 2 assists. The A-10 is absolutely loaded. I think they're probably looking at 2 bids right now if they're able to, do some things in the non-con. And not only do I think that, they had some good players coming in, but I think the fits of these teams, like Ginyard's a guy that knows a lot about drawing fouls and pressuring the rim. And he's got a lot of good shooting around him. He can play in the pick and roll. He rated out 89 percentile as a spot-up shooter. And then you bring in John Hudley from Xavier, who we talked about, when they picked him up, like, man, going from Xavier down here to the A-10, like, he's a guy that should be able to do some damage and make life a lot easier for these guards, and Ginyard in particular. So, I think Ginyard and Duquesne are going to be interesting up in a very, very competitive A-10 here. So, UNT talk, unfortunately not. Yes, we do love us a 5-pack there, Jay. So, we're going to keep those coming as long as we're doing these shows here. Let's see here. Darren saying A10 greater to the you heard it here, folks. Not quite, my friend. I think the ACC has a little bit of chance to be much more competitive this year, especially with a couple of teams are doing to kind of back up your Louisvilles and your Dukes. Obviously, UNC gonna have talent. So cool. That about wraps it up. So make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. I think Jay will be here in a couple of days, kind of doing the same thing that I just did. And then we'll be back together here in the future, probably at the end of the week, if not first thing early next week. So thanks for everybody for hopping in, all the comments and everything. As Jay would say, make sure you take care of yourselves. As CC Hustle would say, make sure you tell someone you love them. And my name is MC Holland 34 over on Twitter, Mr. Mike Holland, the captain of the One and Done CBB ship. Appreciate it. Yes, salute to you, Jay. Darren, love it, man. Appreciate all your commentary. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drrodo.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.